right. You know, I think the most important thing for us to remember is being social has gotten so much more complicated than it ever was before. The world is a really challenging place. It was always challenging for kids with social cognitive weaknesses, but it's even more challenging now for every kid. And so we're going to, just to review, we're going to talk about the art of communication. We're going to, just a little bit of kind of where it begins, where it comes from, so we know what we're looking for, and then we're going to talk a little bit about social thinking. But then, just to remind us a little bit how complicated things are now, and remind ourselves that, yes, we want to be teaching kids to talk, but, you know, kids are not getting the same experiences that they were getting in learning to talk. And young people are not communicating the way they used to communicate. And so, I think, you know, I guess the point of all of this is that it's really not only about speech anymore. And as a person who works with kids with Apraxia and has for a long, long time, I've really come to the fact that it's not just about speech. I mean, we always knew that, but it's ever so much more than it used to be. And really, it's kids like Sean who remind me of that daily. You know, as speech paths, we work so hard to teach them to talk that sometimes we forget to teach them to listen and all of the other things that go along with learning to talk. So, we can't place our sole focus on teaching them to talk. We need to also always be thinking about what does it mean to communicate? What is communication? Well, this is so important because communication is what rests at the core of what it means to be human. And so, every day, kind of when I get up to do this, and when I get up to work with kids with communication disorders, I'm always reminded and always humbled by the fact that for some of us it is so easy, and for some it's so, so hard. And so it's really what keeps me going to the office every single day, because communication does rest at the heart of every human interaction, whether we are verbal communicators or not. So, again, if we thought that communication was complicated before, it's even more complicated. Just to sort of think about social media, and again, our teens, Twitter, I'm eating a donut, Facebook, I like donuts, Foursquare, this is where I eat donuts, Instagram, here's a vintage photo of my donut. YouTube, here I am eating a donut. LinkedIn, some of my skills include eating donuts. Pinterest, here's a donut recipe. Last.fm, listening to donuts. And G+, I'm a Google employee who eats donuts. There's so much for our kids to contend with right now. No one tells you the rules about this stuff. For instance, Facebook. Who do you friend? Do you friend everybody you know? Do you friend all your friends' friends? Do you write on their wall? How many times do you write on the wall? You know, writing 6 comments on somebody's Facebook wall on the same picture is actually not done. My daughter informed me of that. So, you know, the fact is, this really is more complicated for our kids. And if we think about our kids who have social cognitive differences, the whole terminology. If you have 784 Facebook friends, what does that, are those friends? And we laugh about it and it's funny, but it's not actually that funny. For kids who have a hard time getting this stuff, the terminology already blows them out of the water. Those aren't friends, those are acquaintances. They may not even be acquaintances. And so it's